Hey everybody, it's Lynn from A Bit of Birdsong. I need to finish cutting up this rug, and I thought I would turn the camera on. If you're not interested in this, as you know, you don't have to watch it, but several did mention that they would like to see what else comes out of this. And I want to make sure that pretty pieces from this, which a lot of them have been very pretty. I want to make sure that pretty pieces go into these pen pal packs that I'm packaging up right now. So I thought I would go ahead and finish this process of taking these pieces out. I love the colors. It's amazing how different they look when they're scrunched up and woven together. And so those of you who are watching right now, it seems like there's been a difference in quality depending on where you buy these. Several people said that their Walmart rugs were not great, that it was just a bunch of polyester without much color. Several mentioned that Five Below has the best ones of all. This one came from Five Below. And I also have some that are from Rose's discount store. Now, haven't cut those apart. I use those. I can tell you though, after this, I'm going to start paying attention to what is out there. I really need a bigger table for this because I don't have a lot of working space on here, which is normally completely fine. Now, I don't really care for this. These stitches hold pieces of fabric together. I think when you have a bolt of fabric or a big roll of fabric, when you get to the end of one piece and need to attach it to the next, that's where that comes from. It's interesting. I don't really care for it. So this is just a solid sort of red, pinky red fabric. It is silky and shiny though. It's not polyester. So let's see. How is the easiest way to do this? Let's go ahead and just put it over the top of my art things down here and try to do it this way. The pieces are long, like, and once you get one started, you can kind of just pull it out. Oops, I don't want to cut the fabric. Like you can just pull it through the loops, is what I'm saying. So that's two pieces side by side that were rolled up together. Well, this green looks interesting. See how this one loops over on the end? That one's pretty long. So it loops around, and I think, there we go. So there's the end of that. So last night on TV, the Duke versus Carolina game was on. So my daughter and son-in-law and my little grandson came over, and we had wings. I made a big pot of calico beans. Has anybody ever had those? You can find recipes online. They're one of Michaela's favorites. Or that recipe is one of Michaela's favorites. I used to make those when the children were growing up, and I still love it. Jason loves it too. It's just really, really good. Jason cooked wings. I can't remember if I said that or not. And we never even got around to dessert. We were all so full, and then, you know, the evening goes by. It was time for my grandson to get home and get ready for bed. But we had fun last night. Carolina won, yay. My daughter and son-in-law are Duke fans, but we are Carolina fans. I look at the roses in that. I love that pink and brown, and that's pretty. This can take some time. I mean, not a long time, but it's relaxing. I don't think it's a stressful thing. So look at how many strings are across the top there where everything's looped over. And every once in a while, these strings get so long, you can just pull the fabric out, but then the strings kind of, they're not tied or anything, they just get tangled. So that's, oh yeah, look at this, a couple of pieces that are twisted together to make this row. Gonna have a lot of fabric. I went over to Chapel Hill yesterday. We have we've got, oh goodness, off the top of my head I can think immediately of, well, let's see, 1, 2, 3, I mean 3 or 4 or 5 Dollar Trees, a couple that are really close, and then a couple more that I have to drive a little bit, that's pretty, a little bit farther. But there's one over in Chapel Hill that it's probably 25 minutes. It really wouldn't take that long except for, you know, the traffic out on the highway. But I went over there yesterday because it always feels like it's a neater store. The shelves, this is an interesting piece of fabric here. The shelves are more stocked, and I don't know, it's just a neater store. It's not torn all to pieces. The ones in Durham just get, as my mother would say, they get rolled and tumbled. And there was a manager over here in one of the Durham stores. I missed seeing her. I think I might just toss this piece. It is very stiff. And right in the center of it, it's one of those places where it's been hooked together. And it just looks kind of dirty. It's odd. So this lady that I would see in one of the Durham stores, she appeared to be part of management, if not the store manager. And I could tell that she was working really hard. Like one of these stores close to me, it really improved with her in there as far as what was on the shelf, the amount of merchandise, you know, people working, just the vibe of the store. And all of a sudden she just wasn't there anymore. So lo and behold, she was in the Chapel Hill store yesterday. And I immediately spoke to her and told her I missed her. And she said she had been held up at gunpoint in Durham. So she transferred, which I completely understand. And I don't know, that's just a bit scary. Well, it's a lot scary. It's not a bit scary. It's a lot scary. That's pretty. But I was just surprised to hear that. I was also happy to find her again. And the store, I mean, it was neat. It had a, you know, it still was not as fully stocked as it could be, but I think retail in general has changed. Just, I think we're never going to see retail go back to the way it was before the pandemic. I just don't think things are ever going to be the same. And it's just a number of factors. I think people order more online now. And don't know, it's wages. You know, people started getting paid more to come to work, and now some people won't work for less than a certain amount. And retail stores are not set up to pay people that much. It's going to take time for that to change. So there are quite a few stores that I go into that I'm not just blown away by how neat everything is and how staffed everything is. Every store seems to be. What else was I going to say? Oh, I want to talk about Temu. Is there anybody here who has thoughts about whether that's a good or bad? Well, I don't want to use those words because I don't want this to be a controversial. But I've heard people say that we shouldn't order from them, and I've heard people say they love them. And I've seen people on YouTube talk about how horrible it is for the U.S. economy and retail landscape, and then I've heard people say it's just like any other place. It's not a big deal. But I was approached about being a partner or a affiliate or a representative or an influencer or whatever you want to call it. And I don't really know what to say. I haven't answered because I don't know yet. And when I read about it and look at videos about it, I'm confused because there are two completely different opinions about it. And it seems to be just evenly split. I don't know. I asked Jason and he had the same answer I did. He's seen both. So maybe that means I should just hold off and see what happens. So there's just a pretty blue. This is really shiny. Okay. Let's cut some of these threads off up here. Anna, it was so nice to meet you the other night. It is so much fun to get to see somebody that you've only ever talked to online. And it was just nice to be out with everybody. This is another one I think I'm going to toss because it looks dirty. You can see the dirt in these lighter fabrics. And somebody said these are swept up off of the floors, and then just put together to make the rugs, which I don't doubt. I mean, we're talking about probably a factory floor or a, maybe a factory floor or something. We used to have so many factories, textile plants and factories in the United States. And now I don't think we have that many. I worked in a factory when I was about 20. It was a really good experience as far as learning and just, learning responsibility, learning how to work. It was a place with a lot of big, there were sewing machines, but there were also the big quilting machines because comforters were just becoming really popular. And these big, huge machines, the size of a comforter, they sit low to the floor and the fabric gets pinned to it and it stitches all around. It does this pattern, so nobody has to move that big comforter around. We had those. My job was to seal the plastic bags with a heat seal once they had been packaged, that curtains and things. That's pretty. Look at that. Look at the embroidery on that. So that's what I did pretty much all day. And then I can't remember if I also packed boxes. But man, I was fast with that machine. You just throw the package under there and press a foot pedal and this hot arm comes down. It's like it just seals the bag all the way across, and you tear off the piece on your side, and then you have a sealed bag. It'd be bad to get your finger under it. And you know what? I think I made like $4.25 an hour. But things didn't cost as much. And I lived in Charlotte. I lived on my own. I had a roommate, but wow, things have changed. You couldn't even buy groceries with that right now. I used to have all of my old check stubs. I think I finally threw all that away. Wow, look at this bright fabric. See, what time is it? I have to work today. I'm just out here this morning putting these pen pal packs in the mail, getting them all bundled up so that they can go out in tomorrow's mail. And it's chilly today. It's like right now it's only 49 degrees outside, but it's supposed to warm up this week. That'll be nice. Oh, I know one thing I wanted to say. I really appreciate all of the comments left on that video where I asked for you, what your thoughts are about that journal called Send Spring. I really appreciate all of the comments, and it's interesting, so many of the things that were mentioned, I kind of felt that too when I looked back through it this time. Like, probably one of the biggest things, Kim, you might have mentioned this, I just think I'm not done with it yet. And several of you mentioned there's a lot of pink, and I feel that too. And I love pink. I don't have a problem with pink, but it's almost monotonous. It's just too much. And also, somebody mentioned yellow. Jay, maybe you mentioned it, and somebody else did, I think. That's one of the things I was thinking about, especially, is putting some yellow in. Yellow feels like sunshine. And I don't know, I still kind of I love grunge, but there's something about the journal that just feels, I don't know what it is. I'm still thinking about it. Now, this is interesting fabric. It looks kind of dirty too. You can really see it on these light. Can you see the color difference? And is that just a stain? Is it meant to be that way? Maybe it is. It's bright. Is that chartreuse? I'll save that. And oh, wait. Just trying to figure out what this is as far as the design. Let's cut some more strings. That's pretty. Get that gold on there. Look how bright and shiny that is. That's just solid red, but that's really pretty. Might be time to cut some strings. That's okay. I'm not crazy about it. I can feel the grit now that I've done this section. I think in the first one I didn't really feel that much, but I can now. So this is shiny. I can't wait to see what this looks like. But it feels like a very stiff fabric. Ooh, look at that. Pretty. That's pretty. I think I'm going to have to cut some strings after this one, or maybe before this one. They just get really tangled up at the ends after you've pulled out so much. Almost like when your hair is tangled and you comb it from the top down, the further you go, the more the bottom tangles up. And you have to just stop and get the tangles out. Only this time we're just cutting them out. Okay. Interesting. Oh, that's pretty. Look at this end. It's got this, it's like a lack of color there. It's kind of pretty. All right, well, maybe I will stop this. Yeah, that's crazy. I've already been recording almost 30 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this and just sit out here and work on it for a little bit before I leave. That's pretty. Get all the gold in that. Okay, I'll see you soon. Bye for now.